Hey, welcome back to Searching for Service. Another great episode ahead of us. I'm Joe Kirk. I get to be here with the lucky Chad Larson and Kelly Kirk. P.S. Kelly, is this your first episode back?
It sure is.
Oh my God.
She's back.
She's back. She's back.
I know it was rough with just you and I for the listeners.
Thanks for hanging in there too, listeners. And
y'all did just fine.
how was it? How was the break?
Good. It was great.
Yeah?
Wonderful.
What did you do?
I just hung out with a baby.
Yeah.
The most amazing baby ever.
I'm sure you're really missing this then.
Really, really missing it. Yeah. No, it was amazing. And obviously it's a big venture. But here we are. We're back into the swing of things.
All together, and it feels so good. Well, today we have an awesome guest, Sutton McGraw. She is with the Edina Noon Club. And
Sutton.
I struggle with that sometimes.
I like the name Hutton.
Sutton McGraw. It's okay. We're here to help each other out.
I'd like to thank everybody. This is my last show. Sutton, I'm so sorry. Sutton McGraw. She's with the Edina Noon Club, and she has come on the show to talk about a trip to Guatemala where you did a Rotary service project.
Correct.
And we're really excited to hear about it. We cannot wait to hear about the project, but first we're going to learn a little bit about you.
Okay.
How about, when did you become a Rotarian?
So this June will be my 12th year being a Rotarian.
Okay.
Holy
A
moly.
lot longer than all of us.
Yeah.
Especially me.
Combined,
Yeah.
by the way.
Have you always been in the Edina Club?
The Edina Noon Club, yep.
Cool.
I was recruited by a past president named Woosh Bryn, and he knew my sister-in-law and said, hey, come on by. We're going to do this informal get-together, learn a little bit more about Rotary. And
Sucked you right in.
yep, here I am 12 years
Good at
later.
that.
Yeah, that's kind of how I felt when I went and visited and was like, all right, well, this kind of makes sense.
You were a legacy.
Yeah. So
When you're not, participating in a mission trip or at a Rotary meeting, what do you do for work? And
I own a commercial cleaning company, and so we service the entire Twin Cities. I have about 25 employees, and
you're busy.
I am busy, and I do that and then just work out. I like being outside. It's nice.
Lovely.
My sister just had a baby about 15 days ago, so I'm a new
Oh my
aunt. So that's kind of
Oh my
fun.
gosh, congratulations.
yeah, that's
So,
very exciting.
I can relate to you. My sister's really trying.
In the weeds.
Yeah, she's like, I'm really trying to get used to this.
You look back and first time.
Yep,
too?
this is
Yeah.
Oh,
this is our
So-
probably the only grandkid in the family will be.
Oh my gosh.
So it's been fun. They've been trying to, get their sleep and
Yeah.
do
But
whatever.
it's like survival mode and adapt and overcome and more survival mode. Like I look back and I remember talking, I don't know how she is in terms of like what her maternity leave is going to be, but I remember looking back and going, yeah, I can do some work. No, you cannot.
Yeah, she's a doctor, so she'll take her 6 weeks, but
Perfect.
I don't. But I think she thought she could. I think she thought it would be a little better. Maybe.
I'm sure.
Easier.
Yeah, a little easier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
failed expectations. Number one.
Yes.
Whoopsie for all new parents out there. Just know it's going to be a poop show and hang on real tight.
Very much so. Even when it goes smoothly, air quotes, it's still a shit show. Pardon my French. Sorry.
Right?
Pardon my French.
I will have to believe that.
Hey, raw moment from a new mom. There you go. Raw moment, new
It's
mom.
okay.
Well, congratulations.
Yeah.
So commercial cleaning, you know what? We might actually know each other from commercial cleaning because I was in commercial property management for
Oh,
8
no.
years previous to real estate. So we may have crossed paths somewhere. It's so
Yeah.
funny. We have so many same connections. And I'm like, how haven't we met? I mean, so, and where do you live?
I live in Long Lake.
Long Lake.
I
Great
love
spot.
it. Yeah, it's beautiful out there.
Where is Long Lake?
Like by Orono.
Okay.
Why is
got
that
it.
Orono?
Got it.
They all kind of interconnect out there once you get out there.
Well, she's an East Sider anyway, so.
Oh, you're from St. Paul.
Sort of.
New Edina resident in the last year or so.
Sort of, yeah. So, anyways, this is not about me.
Who cares?
This is about you. Son. This is about you.
It actually took me 12 years of being a Rotarian to have the time and a way to be able to have the time away to do a trip. So I wanted to go a couple of years ago, but COVID was really hard on my business.
Mhm.
And so I had an opportunity to have this really huge project, and I was like, oh, I can't pass this up. So it was, I think what's really nice about all this is that we're all Rotarians. So we all
Mhm.
understand the importance and we're on the same level there.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And so then if you have a group of people that you kind of just love in your group,
Yeah.
Mhm.
and then they're going on this trip,
FOMO.
I was just
Yeah.
like, this is going to be great. And
Yeah.
I've always wanted to. And one of my favorite things to do besides travel, well, traveling is number one, and then probably cooking.
Mhm.
So I knew I wanted to go, and we just had an amazing experience. You're such good friends and colleagues anyways, and you kind of come home more like family. So
Very
yeah,
cool.
it's really cool.
Wonderful.
Well, it's interesting that it took 12 years, right? So it just kind of shows all the Rotarians that are listening out there, or people that are just, thinking about service is, sometimes it takes time.
Oh,
Sometimes
for sure.
it takes time to become comfortable enough to, know the people well enough to then do the project. But I'm guessing that there's people listening to this right now. They're like, well, that was like the first thing I did. I went something
Yeah.
like
Everybody's
we've had guests on that, like, literally their first experience with Rotary was a trip like that. I'm like, wow,
Yeah.
Mhm.
just straight in.
Yeah.
But that's really cool. And I do think it just really reinforces all the things that we actually are doing in our clubs.
Yeah.
So all the 5950, all the 5960 groups and clubs that whatever their passion is, no matter how small or how large the group is, it just reinforces what we're doing good things.
Very cool.
Mhm.
Aside from the Guatemala trip, like how else do you like to be involved in Rotary?
Well, when I first started, I was involved with the youth exchange program, which is really cool.
Yeah.
And actually, I met Tom and Catherine Gump kind of right away, and Tom's a big guy now in your group.
Yep.
Yeah.
He's been on with you guys a couple
Uh-huh.
times.
Yep.
Yes, he
Yeah,
has.
he's
Sure, he'll be back again.
Yep.
They're really wonderful.
Yeah.
So there's that, and then I've done the Rotary Ethics Day program where we get together with juniors and seniors from Edina High School, and then we have case studies, and it's usually at St. Pat's every year, and we have different speakers and stuff. And it's not about right or wrong; it's just about these ethical situations that juniors, seniors find themselves in a high school and maybe would be presented to in their near future and college and stuff.
Mhm.
And it's kind of fun because you just never know what the answer is. And it's very different than probably what we might all expect.
Sure.
So that's kind of fun. Doing that.
I'll take business ethics. Movie reference for you people out there.
Big quote guy. Big quote guy. Brett, we'll cut this out.
As you got involved with this trip, what are the first steps do you identify that you want to go? Is it the trip that brings you in? Or I don't, as a new person, I have no idea even how you get to the point of finding the opportunity.
So our group, Edina Noon, is a pretty large Rotary group.
Right.
Mhm.
We're close. I think we're 160 members. Pre-COVID, I think it was 172. So our former president, Josh Sprague, got involved with this Guatemala trip because actually we helped take it over from St. Pat's Church.
Okay.
So they started it.
Okay.
Josh was one of the only Rotarians who went one year and then got really into it and was like, hey, we can help fundraise and actually get some of this stuff done. So this was our 5th year of our club going. but it was only my first year.
Yeah.
I think I think we had 11 people go this year, and I think of those 11, maybe 3 or 4 had been there previously once before. So it might have been their second time.
Sure.
So Josh put out an announcement and said, "Hey, these are the dates that we're looking at going." It was late. It was like October of last year.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, then people get busy with the holidays. So no
Yeah.
one signed. I was like the only person signed up, but I knew that it'd get
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
And I think ideally, 11 is a great 11 to 15. I think 15 would probably be ideal.
Yeah.
I love the cliffhanger because we
I
get to
know.
go right into the
I
next
know.
segment. So, Kelly's hanky. Kirk.
Go ahead.
Take
You
it.
do it.
Oh,
Real quick.
okay.
Yep.
All right. You're listening to Searching for Service. I'm Joe Kirk.
I'm Kelly Kirk.
And I'm Chad Larson.
We'll see you on the next segment.
Hello and welcome back to Searching for Service, brought to you by Rotary District 5950 and 5960. I'm Kelly Kirk.
And I'm Joseph Kirk.
And I'm Chad Larson. Today we have Sutton McGraw with us. We're talking about her service trip with the Edina Rotary to Guatemala. And before we went to break, we were talking, you said the ideal, amount of people, you said 15 would be a total, but 11 really felt good. Is there, oftentimes it's a lot smaller, a lot bigger,
Well, I heard on previous trips, I think one year there was 20.
Wow.
So this is what we did. We went from wherever everyone was starting. Most people started from Minneapolis, St. Paul.
Yeah.
And then I had to go through Atlanta and then Atlanta to Guatemala. So our first night was in Guatemala City. And then we took a 5-hour bus ride to Coban. And we stayed at the monastery. So this is really cool. So we get our products from Hope International.
Mm-hmm.
And they have a manufacturing plant in Guatemala City.
Okay.
And then the monks, they deliver all the filter products that we're putting together. It's like a 5-gallon pail and the filter and the spigot and everything to the monastery. The monastery houses that stuff for us till we get there. And then the monks, they have all the stuff and the vehicles to get us up the roads are, I don't know. Some of them are
a little nerve-wracking.
Yeah,
Freshly paved.
Yeah, I was going to say some of them aren't even paved. And so they get us up the hill to these villages, and then we get an assembly line and we're assembling these filters. So I think 15 is probably ideal. Also, we have these little icebreakers that we do with the children and stuff. For example, one time I think I painted 100 people's nails. The little girls and their moms. It was really fun. But then Josh, he was funny. He got a lot of soccer balls donated.
Sure.
And then one time we played a little game of soccer with the kids afterwards. Josh did, and it was really fun. So there's just different icebreakers.
Yeah, I can get to know people.
Well, and we kind of stepped over it. Is what specifically did you guys do down there in terms of the work that you were doing?
Okay, so this was a water project.
Mm-hmm.
Guatemala does have stuff wrong with their water.
Yeah.
And so it's just access to clean water. So we assembled 650 water units to filtrate water, and we guesstimate, but I think it's pretty accurate, about 10 people use that 5-gallon water filter per 5-gallon
per filter.
Yeah. And the filters last about 5 to 7 years. And then our trip, we go every other year. So the monastery also helps us coordinate people who are in need in the villages for these filters.
Mm-hmm.
So it is really it's like a group. It really is. We do need their participation and help, and we get to know them, and they're really fun.
Yeah.
They're really fun people. Which is kind of surprising, just because I don't know, I don't know why. Okay, my only reference point of monks really is my sister-in-law's from Thailand, so they have a lot of monks there, and I met a lot there, and then just watching The Sound of Music. So for me, I'm like, well, what do monks do? Pray? So
I would
silence
every day,
right there with
5:55. There was a gong every morning. And then there was a prayer time at 6. No, we didn't have to join that, but they did. It was for them. So it's really
That-
interesting.
See,
It
so
is.
it's not just Rotary that has an image problem sometimes. It's those poor
It's-
monks. They're like,
yeah.
we're fun people. There's a
Yeah.
disco in there. Like,
Yeah, they're like, little do you know, and they're like sharing their little secrets. This is what we
Yeah.
actually do. Now there's going to be a show about monks.
Maybe there should be.
Yeah.
So there were days that we actually even split our groups up.
Sure.
And, one went to one village and the other half went to the other village, and we assembled. The people were so grateful. I think one of the most touching things is when we were at this school, one of the maintenance guys came up to us and said it in Spanish afterwards. Our family has been collecting rainwater, and we get sick, and it's hard to go to work when we're sick. And he said, this is really going to impact our lives. And like his brother and sister-in-law, I think, live with them too. So he was just saying how this was really going to help their family overall. So, it's just the little things that we really do take for granted.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Water is just such a basic
Yeah.
necessity for people. And the fact that people don't have that. We helped provide clean water for the Escuintla Hospital, which was one of our stops, which is it's between Guatemala City and Antigua. And their death rate went down substantially in the last 2 years because of the clean water they're using.
Mhm.
Wow.
I mean, I think it was like something like 80%, and now it's at 10 or 15. I
Oh
mean,
my
really
gosh.
like substantial, right?
Yeah.
So it just shows us, it's just we're not dealing with that problem.
No, it shows you actually how much we take like the situation that we're in right now
Yeah.
for granted, right?
Yeah.
Like you were offered water
Yeah.
beforehand, and it was just like we can have water whenever we want.
Yeah.
Now we had Kyle was at Haugen. I'm just looking back in my notes. Kyle Haugen,
That
who
sounds familiar.
he headed the water project in Uganda. And you think like he was talking about how that impacts even like having that clean water system for women and their needs
Yes.
too. And how that helped shift their community. So
What always shocks me is how little of a change that drastically changes the measures of livability for people.
mhm,
Whether that's access to sanitation,
mhm.
access to water, access to food, access to shelter, those really simple core items, and how much of an impact that allows. Access to electricity, all of a sudden education goes up,
Mhm.
because you can do stuff at night when you're not working. And
Yep.
so it's just really fascinating to hear, and it's really inspiring to hear, like, these, and correct me if I'm wrong, part of it is they're like a 5-gallon bucket, right? So they're mobile.
Oh yeah, it's
So
like a pail.
It's super
Oh.
mobile. It's not something that's fixed to the ground
No.
or anything. So you can take it with you.
Fascinating.
And that's the cool thing about these filters, is that they're mobile. They can go anywhere, and they can bring them into somebody else's home versus just keeping it yours.
So
Interesting.
that is one of the things, because I felt like, well, what about some of the other people who didn't get it?
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
unlike, I think, our society, a lot of different cultures are a little bit more inclusive.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And so they're going to have their neighbor, if they didn't get one, they're going to be able to, they'd share the
Yeah,
water.
they'll have
Yeah,
accessibility
they'll have
to it.
accessibility.
And they'll allow that accessibility.
Yes, exactly. They're not going to just keep it for
Which
themselves.
obviously again speaks to the community.
Yeah.
So-
It is a beautiful country.
I think that kind of leads to, like, what was the number one takeaway for you in terms of what you learned about their community and their culture? Yeah.
Well, it's very communal. I mean, most other cultures besides the United States is not so individualistic. It is more communal. But they were just, I'm so grateful. And I think that's even when you see people not have a lot, but they're actually relatively happy
Yeah.
and grateful for what you're bringing. And then you just are like, well, how is this a problem still?
Yeah.
I think that's a real wake up call. And then also, I mean, I live in a townhome, and I love my townhome, and I live in a great area, and I'm biased. I love living out west, but I've hit the jackpot,
Mm.
and actually it even brings more home. I'm adopted from India, and so are my other two siblings. And we were just lucky enough that we were adopted into the United States, but people
Yeah.
can't help where they're born. They
No.
can't help they're
Right.
born in Guatemala or Syria
Yeah.
or wherever, right? Where these things are happening.
Yeah.
Or like you said, Uganda.
Mhm.
And they just the basic needs for people to survive is just it's just a wake-up call. I really wish people not only more Rotarians could participate in stuff like this, but even like high school students, right? To gain a little perspective about what's going on
Yep.
in the world versus what's going on in the United States. It's a really wonderful thing.
Well, and the fun thing about something like youth exchange, right? That provides the opportunity to gain perspective in going into a different country, for instance, and staying with a different family and understanding what the values and stuff look like. But nothing speaks to actually going to like a third world country.
Yeah.
Do you know if Rotary does anything with the Interact clubs to try to engage the
So
younger? Is there
Yeah.
an age requirement?
well, no, so that's funny that you said that because Interact in other countries is just much more prevalent. Like
Mhm.
they really know a
Mhm.
lot about it. So yeah, I don't know if we're going to do a presentation to the Interact group. I think we probably should.
Mhm.
Lindsay Smaka, who is really a big participator in our group, she is actually a Edina High School teacher, and she oversees
She's
global
amazing.
studies. She is awesome.
Mhm.
So maybe we'll probably do something with her.
Yeah.
on
Maybe we
that.
could facilitate something like that,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Well, what a great way to end this segment, and we'll continue this conversation on about the trip and what you've learned and how people can get involved. So until the next segment, I'm Joe Kirk,
I'm Kelly Kirk.
And I'm Chad Larson.
and you're listening to Searching for Service.
And stand by. Here we go.
Hello, hello, and welcome back to Searching for Service, brought to you by District 5950 and 5960. I'm Kelly Kirk,
And I'm Joe Kirk.
And I'm Chad Larson.
and as a reminder, you can find us on your favorite podcast platforms, and we love
Likes, comments,
And follows.
and follows,
and 5 stars.
and 5 gold stars. Yeah. Really quick before we dive back in, we were just talking a little bit off air here, and this show is incredible because we just connect stuff together. Like we were just talking about 3 or 4 different things, and we're
We
like,
did.
wow, we just solved world hunger and told nobody. I mean, truly,
Yeah.
like we're just like, wow, we really have some nice connections. So
Mhm.
what a great byproduct of this show. And I mean, it makes me really
And
grateful.
Rotary.
Yeah, and
Yes.
Rotary, and makes me grateful for the show. So
And the individual that we were speaking to about this was Sutton McGraw. So if
not
you're
Hutton.
not Hutton, if you are tuning in for the first time, we have Sutton McGraw, who is a commercial cleaner. She has her own commercial cleaning business, but she's also a Rotarian. And she just had an amazing trip to Guatemala. And so we're going to dive back into that.
Yeah, I mean, talk to us a little bit. Was there anything that happened that really struck you? Like that, I think that these trips can be really powerful. And was there a moment in time that you felt like it really was powerful for you?
Yeah, so we there's been a lot of different phases of our trips because it's been 5 years that we've gone. And one of the things that we've previously done and worked with is the doctors at the Escuintla Hospital. To give the just our listeners an idea of what the hospital, I would equivalent that I think the hospital we visited is the equivalent of an HCMC. Okay. But kind of, it's in this place called Escuintla, which is between Guatemala City and Antigua. And they should have a budget of $220 million. They're running it on $20 million.
Yeah.
Wow.
So you walk into this hospital and you're just seeing things. And we've helped them with some pediatric stuff in the past. We've also helped them have clean water for the entire hospital. And there was this one boy who is 4 years old, and he is very malnourished. He has been in the hospital for a month. And he had boiling water spill all over him. And now he has a skin infection. And I looked at the doctor and I said, how did he get boiling water on him? And they're now investigating because it might have been not a good situation at home.
Yeah.
And I heard that. A couple of my colleagues heard that, male and female, and we all were tearing up.
Yeah.
And it's those things that you see, and then you know that we've brought down the death rate with the clean water. And you just you even being a new mom and my sister being a new mother, if I wanted to cry as many times as in front of my group, I think my group would have told me to get it together. So I did a lot in my own room.
Yeah.
But these children are being born, I think, and they're in remote villages, and you're like, and it's not that it's bad. It's just, you just wish the conditions were better.
Yeah.
And you wish that an HCMC type of hospital had the extra $200 million they need, so they're running in the most efficient way possible. The other little boy I saw in one of the NICUs, his eyeballs were bulging out a little bit, and I asked the doctor what was going on with that. He was born with water in the brain, and he's been there for 2 months because they're waiting for the right thing, the stint, to come so they can drain the water off of his brain. And it's like, I wish we would have known.
Yeah.
I would have loved to get those things down there for them. So it's just those eye-opening things that touch your heart. And then, as a group, in our hearts, we're all Rotarians.
Yeah.
And then we serve together. And again, I just think it brings it back full process.
Yeah.
Also, I found out, and I didn't know this, so for the group, the 5950 group, 5960, our district, there's this club that's relatively new called the Global Travelers.
Global Travelers. Yep.
And I didn't know about it, but two people in that group, Connie and Joel Mondry, are in that group, and they joined our group, and they're 80 and 82. Connie and Joel just rocked it, and they served with us day in and day out. And they actually have a son and daughter who they help with, and they got to meet them again down there. So they left our group for a day to meet them. So it's just it just brings back to what we're doing on a daily, like a weekly basis with our Rotary groups and how to get involved. The Global Travelers, why I bring that up is because all they do is they meet on Zoom, but all they do is travel. So if you want to get involved in service things and find out about them, that would be a great place to start, at least look into. And then also, I just feel like your club president would know about some of the global things that you might be doing internationally for grants. That's how I found out about it. So Josh knew about that because it was a grant that he's worked on before, and we continue to try to find different things to do there.
Wow. Thank you for sharing that. That was an incredible story. And it's interesting because, you probably go down there and you're helping and you're thinking like, all right, rah, 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 we're changing everything. And then you walk into a situation where you're like, it's literally a drop in the bucket compared to what is needed. And it humbles you immediately of just how much more help is required.
So much more. I mean, we don't have the capacity to change it all.
Yeah.
I was, when you were telling me that they go year after year, I thought, maybe clubs go different places, and it probably makes sense to go back to the same places because whether it's the little things you learn and do, but you realize not only that you're having an impact, but there's other things and other maybe small things you can do. So I was surprised at first when you said, "Oh, we go back to the same place," because maybe it's just I've heard of the stories other places. And
I think when you go to Koban, to the monastery, although that's our starting place, I do think it's different villages that are getting helped every year. It's not the same villages, but the hospital has a lot of greater needs. So I think we try to keep going with that. But I don't know all the particulars of all the grants.
Is it the same project every year? So it's the water filtration buckets?
Yeah. So, and we go, just to clarify, it's every other year we're allowed to go back.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Okay. And so, yes, but I think there's different things that we're trying to do for different things. Like there's like bats in the wing of the hospital, and Lindsay is looking into how to safely remove those bats. So there might be a different group who go down and do just like a bat project for the hospital. There's, for example, the laundry in the Escuintla Hospital is 40 years old. There's like 4 washer and dryers, and I think right now there's only 2 working, 2 washers, 2 dryers. They do 200 pounds of laundry a day, you guys. I mean, it's just,
it just can't.
It's
sustain.
Just, it's just like, it's just
can't.
like, oh my gosh, there's just a lot to be done,
Yeah.
It's just eye opening.
Yeah,
if you guys can go, definitely go. You guys are gonna have to wait a little bit.
The first thought that popped up, I'm like, well,
it's gonna be
give it a couple of years.
Strap her on. Let's go.
You kind of touched on it earlier on that you weren't able to go on a trip because of COVID, but and work, or maybe we were talking, but was it hard to be gone from obviously, here, but work, or was it pretty easy once you got down there because of the impact?
I think for me, I just finally am in a place where I have a full-time manager.
Yeah.
I could take calls, emails, texts, all that.
You get full service.
I can still, but I mean, when you're in the village, I mean, you just got to put your phone away. But
you have time.
But you just make the time, but it was worth it.
Yeah.
And I think you just accommodate for that over time. I just knew, okay, this is important enough. I'm doing this.
I just pictured that you're disconnected, so you still have some opportunities. Because that would be a concern. It's like, why?
You just call your carrier and say, I need the international plan. Yeah.
Oh, sure.
And still stay in touch with family and work.
Yes.
Just real quick, while we have another minute, just what is your takeaway from the project? How about this? What was the difference between expectation versus reality?
Well, you guys, I thought we literally were going to be digging ditches. I thought I was going to be in a field for like 10 hours a day. I don't know where I came up with that. I think someone else came and talked to us about a different water project. So I thought, oh, we're just going to be digging these ditches and installing stuff. And
I think of that too.
And,
I
Josh
understand.
Sprague's like, Sutton, who said that? And I was like, I don't know. It's just what so really, it was actually a lot easier than I thought. But at the same time, we were really going from village to village to village to village. There wasn't a lot of downtime. And it was specifically that way so he could get a lot done.
Yeah, have the most impact.
So it was better than you thought.
Yeah, it was better. It was better than I thought.
Okay. And remind me, how long were you down there?
Like 10 days. 10 nights, 9 days, something like that. Yeah.
Very cool.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
What a great project. And hopefully we can help support you in for that sixth time going down there.
Yeah, I want to go.
And we got one more segment left, but I'm Joe Kirk.
I'm Kelly Kirk.
And I'm Chad Larson.
And you're listening to Searching for Service.
We're on, and all right, stand by. Here we go on the last segment.
Actually, you should leave it in. I'm terrible.
You kill me, man.
So we'll see who leads us in here.
Oh, are we going?
Oh no! I was hearing you guys.
It's me.
No. Oh, you're doing okay.
Like, what is going on here? I was like, how did that happen? Okay.
Yeah, I'm waiting for the music.
Yeah.
This is dead air. This isn't good.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Kelly usually lead it back in. Yeah, yeah. All right, here we go.
Oh my gosh.
Hello, and welcome back to Searching for Service, brought to you by Rotary District 5950 and 5960. I'm Kelly Kirk.
I'm Joe Kirk.
And I'm Chad Larson.
I almost said the dynamic duo, but I meant the Three Musketeers. That's what I meant.
The three-legged stool.
Oh my gosh. If you're tuning in for the first time, we have a wonderful guest by the name of Sutton McGraw. I think it sounds like a fancy actress name.
Country singer.
Oh.
I've literally had people at Home Depot be like, are you related to Tim McGraw? Look at
yes,
me.
Yes, I do.
No.
I do show a resemblance to him, right?
Yeah.
So Sutton is chatting with us about her trip to Guatemala through Rotary. And for our last segment, we're going to kind of wrap things up talking about aspirations, where you vision a trip like that. And
how do you imagine the future of the Guatemala trip?
Well, I definitely want to go back. And I really do like the water filter part of it, and I think it's important to keep doing, but there are a lot of other needs, and we were gone for a long time, but I almost think it could be 14 days. Like, I would like to go visit. We partnered with a couple other, the Coban Rotary Group and the Antigua Rotary Group, I think also someone from Guatemala City. So we partnered with other groups there, and that's actually the other beauty of partnering with Rotary is you're actually connecting with the other Rotarians on the other side,
Yeah.
which is pretty cool. But we didn't have any time to go to their club,
Yeah.
you know, or meet
Yeah.
the people there, and so I'd like to do that. And I also would like to do more. If there's something more we can continue to do with the hospital, do that. And maybe even educationally, even more, especially with women. So the women in the hospital who were giving birth, a lot of them are like 13 to 17, and you're kind of wondering what's going on there.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of alarming. Just that's really
Yeah.
young. So, you know, I'm 42 and I've made the decision I don't want children. So I can't even, I mean, at 17, I was like riding my bike with my
Yeah.
friends. I don't
Yeah.
know, working at like the grocery store in Glen Lake. So I
Yeah.
wasn't ready then. And I don't know. I would like, it would
Mhm.
be really nice to do something educationally too. And maybe even how you were talking about how the other gentleman with Rotary came and talked about the
Yeah.
Uganda project and
Mhm.
sanitation. I think that would be something good
Yeah.
long term too.
I love the idea of you doing more for the hospital. It sounds like that really touched you. So like I would maybe listen to that.
Some maybe coming. It sounds like with the Batwing or the
Yeah.
bats.
Yeah.
Yes.
the battle.
Yes, right, no,
yeah.
I think Lindsay is looking at because she's really into all that kind of stuff. So she is looking into something like that. And I would definitely go down with her. And I actually would go down on my own to do a little bit more volunteering just with the children's wing. I've talked to the doctors there and
Yeah.
I'm going to keep that open.
Are you getting a very large donation from the Bruce Foundation or Bruce Wayne Foundation for
Oh
the
my
Batwing?
god.
No.
on.
No.
My god.
Seriously, you guys, this is going
I
to be
did
probably my last joke.
I did think about that though when you said the Batwing. I was like, Batman? Okay.
Oh my gosh. I'm like, who's Bruce Wayne? But now I know, I remember. Okay, thank you for cleaning me up. No, I've seen Batman. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. No problem.
Would there be, you know, you talk about going back down base with the group and maybe on your, if you're going to go back down there, would you just reach out to the hospital or how would you, or would you go through the Rotary down there, that people that you met, or how would you?
Well, I
Sorry.
definitely would go back with our Rotary group
Yeah.
in 2025, I think.
Yeah.
So, but if I were going to go back myself, I would reach out to the doctors.
Yeah.
And then there was someone who has helped us the last 5 years with kind of arrangements. So and his name's Alfonso, and I would definitely contact him. But I also I don't want to just limit myself to Guatemala either.
Yeah.
There's other countries also in need doing projects. And I know like there's one in India that might be coming up. And so I just think that there's just different, I just think that any time any Rotarian could go on something that you know your club or your district's been a part of, I think it'll change your life.
Well, I mean, you look at even locally here, I mean, the need is endless. And, you know, as we've established on this show, is that we have it pretty darn good and the need is endless. So imagine in some of these other communities where the need is far greater. I mean, I don't think that you're ever going to have a lack of opportunities. But something I want to hit on really quick is you talked about the coordination with the other Rotary clubs within Guatemala. And that is a key characteristic of a lot of our projects, and the success of them is that there's buy-in locally.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think today you can give to a lot of different charities and different organizations. And there's, as you just said, a lot of people need help right now. But it is really nice to know that you are connecting with the people on the other side. You're seeing that, and that makes you feel good that you're on the same page as the person on the other side. Because if I'm giving $100 to something or $12,000 to something, you just want to make sure it's going to the place you think it's going to.
Sure.
Right.
Sure.
So I also think that's unique to Rotary and kind of it puts the whole circle together. You know, that Rotary is all over the world.
Well, and it's key too that it's sustainable. Like I think that a lot of the things that we talk about is our goal is to make sure it's sustainable. You know, it feels good to, you know, drop drop some filters and stuff like that. But, you guys should probably be back there in 5 to 7 years, replace those filters for them,
Right.
And that's sustainability component.
Would you ever consider heading your own trip like that?
Dropping the gauntlet.
Yes.
I
Ooh,
would. That's very cool.
Yeah, I would.
you've just uttered it into the universe.
What would that look like for you?
I don't know. I mean, that hospital, I think if I was going to go there, it'd probably be around the hospital and the doctors. They need some help.
Yeah.
I mean,
Mhm.
there's a $200 million gap there. That's crazy. I mean, I don't
Yeah.
know. That's incomprehensible to me. But there's so many places in the world that need us, need Rotarians, need our help, need the compassion and the service that we're here to do.
Mhm.
Well, and I think what Rotary does a really nice job of is we all have something that's inside of us that really compels us, and it really helps you find it and matches you with other people that are like-minded and gets it going. And, for the people that are listening to this, is, if there's something that you're passionate about that is not being, addressed currently by Rotary or by your clubs, is make sure that it gets brought up, because it's pretty difficult to have something not fit into the 7 areas of
Yeah.
7 focuses of Rotary. I mean, it's pretty hard.
Yeah.
So I think that's a really nice aspirational thing for, Rotary as a whole, is to just continue people. Like, I mean, you came on here to talk about the Guatemala project, specifically around the filters, and we went right into the hospital, and there was another need. And,
Mhm.
it's really fascinating on how it's so inspirational. So thank you for sharing all of that.
Inspirational, and it pulls at my heartstrings, obviously, hearing on the pediatric portion of it and around children. My aspiration before used to be around dogs and making sure that they were taken care of, and now it's dramatically changed, right? So for individuals, it can just dramatically change, and I don't know where I'm going with this now.
I was just gonna say, you could have fooled me on your change from dogs. We have 3 dogs, and
Oh my
trust me, they're treated like royalty. Well, Sutton, you have just a minute here. How about some parting words for our listeners?
Or
Advice. These people are seeking service, and how should people get involved?
I'd encourage you to just get really involved in your club and some of the passions. Like you said, there's something in all of us. I mean, it could be feed your starving children. It could be local community grants if you know a school or other something involved. But if you start getting involved in those certain groups and you're really participating, it's going to spark something else within you. And if you want to be involved in a service trip, just ask what service trips are going on in your district. Because I feel a little lucky that we're a very big club. And so I feel like we know a lot of those service things that are going on.
Yeah.
But it's people like Josh who are always talking about it. So if it's not being talked about, just reach out to your club president or whoever is that person for you who would know more, because they're going to want you to get involved.
That's so good. And thank you,
Look at
Sutton, for being a wonderful guest.
As a reminder, you are listening to Searching for Service, and it's time to stop searching
and start serving.
Right.
Oh, no.
No,
There's a lot
it
more to
wasn't.
it.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I
Are you
was
guys
looking-
having other parts you're going to bring?
No, just want to do the tag at
Redo.
the end
Can
Oh, do you want to redo it? Okay.
because of the tagline.
Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean, and we had 15 seconds left, so I mean, we might as well use it all up.
all right. Hold on one
Go
second.
around the
I
table.
know. I know.
No, I
Sorry.
thought it was fine.
No. It should be
There's
Just
only
remind-
2 parts.
well, but just a reminder that we're listening to Searching
Oh.
for Service. Thank you, Joe, Chad, Kelly.
Well, I was
And
worried.
why don't we just whip around one more time and go? And now it's time to start. Well, hold on, wait.
Time
There,
to stop
hold on, wait. We can do this.
searching.
Let's do 3 parts. Okay, so stop serving, or stop searching and start serving, And then we just want to say thanks for listening.
Yeah, I can do the thanks for listening.
Perfect. There it is. So we'll just add the trilogy.
Okay.
Come on, let's
All
get it right.
All right.
Cue the
I
music.
think I have it set where it's going to be Kelly. You're going to come in and say it's. Well, actually, I'll play the part for you so you guys know. So it's going to be right here. Wait, if I actually have the audio up, there we go.
As a reminder, you are listening to.
So right there, as a reminder,
Okay.
you guys are good to start there. Yep. That's right after Sutton, so I think that works out. All right. So I am ready when you guys are, and I'll start ramping up the music. And go ahead.
As a reminder, you are listening to Searching for Service. I'm Kelly Kirk.
I'm Joe Kirk.
And I'm Chad Larson. Thanks to our guest Sutton.
It's time to stop searching
And start serving.